What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of nftwins. Today we're talking about curiosity. Well, are you curious? You better be. How does curiosity help you with your life? All right, Lucas, let's fucking go.
Man, this sounds like every help book, right? The first few chapters. This is a prologue. In this book, you're going to learn how to... Exactly. Well, actually, we don't want to talk about how it actually helps you. I want to rather focus on what it actually, or how it helped us. And I think this podcast is one of the best or greatest examples. I mean, we're now already in episode 93. So we started over a year and a half ago. So we started in mid of 2023. Yeah, almost 2 years. And well, at the beginning, we just started because I don't know why, but I just had the feeling I wanted to start a podcast because we love learning about new things. And to be honest, learning or preparing for a podcast helps you a lot because basically the way you know whether you learn something is if you're able to explain it to a different person. Okay. So meaning while preparing for a podcast, you go deep in the material and then you just okay, I need to be able to explain a certain topic. So I need to understand it, at least at a certain degree, right? Of course, you don't have to be a physicist to understand certain things, right? So, for example, how graphic cards work, etc. But you learn more and more about it. And then also a different thing when I do these podcasts is you actually learn how to speak, or well, at least speak better with other people, right? Communication is very important.
Also doing everything in front of a camera, right? Like you have to structure your thoughts. You have to express yourself properly. At least if you do a review of the podcast afterwards or talk about it, hey, what did you like? What did you not like about it? And also in front of a mic. I mean, because you're not talking in person, especially nowadays since everything is online and Zoom, etc. This is a skill really good to have, being good in front of camera. Because when the camera is rolling, you can't be all of a sudden fucking shit up a lot.
Exactly. You're not like, oh, I'm looking on the bottom. What am I doing here? Etc. I think that's a really, really good practice, and it also helps you in a lot of other things, right? So when we started, for example, raising our first fund or first round, let's put it this way, I think 4 years ago already now, man, we had almost 5 years ago, so many calls, and in the beginning was just always like, oh my god, I'm nervous, I don't know. I mean,
no,
of course,
4 years, sorry, 4 years.
Yeah, 2021. Well, 2021 we raised, so actually in 2020 we already had the calls, a big bunch of it. But the thing is, at the beginning, it's every time you're like, all right, gotta get ready, need to prepare, and then also how do you gonna talk? But once you actually learn it by practice, because practice makes perfect. I don't know, you don't want to hear it, you want to have the fastest way to get there, but in the end, that's just how you get there. It's the same with playing soccer, etc. And for us, it's the podcast, right? So every week, every Tuesday, Mark and I sit down. Doesn't matter where we are, even on Christmas last year, on New Year's Eve, we did the podcast because we said one episode per week, right? Doesn't matter whether the episode is 10 minutes long.
Tuesday is Twin Day.
But exactly, it's the Twins Day, exactly. So it doesn't matter. It's all about consistency, and then you can you see how you improve, step by step. Of course, some episodes are better than others because some topics might not be super interesting for us as well. But hey, you get better at it, and I think that's the most important part because it brings you to the next step, which I want to come to, which is transferable skills, right? So probably most people start a podcast because they want to be famous at one point in time, right? They want to be Joe Rogan, they want to have a social media presence, etc. But I think all the other parts are so underrated, which are so helpful in your daily life. May it be, as Mark mentioned already, in the Zoom calls, may it be able to break down certain problems, etc., to a very specific into one or two phrases, as well as then being able to explain to other person.
Well, think about it. Additionally, also, I mean, don't get me wrong, but also the editing part has a role in it, right? In a podcast, it means also commitment. So I think the one thing that was super important also for us, maybe not to learn, but it's cool to have, because it shows you that you have committed to something, right? The podcast now, it might be a tool for you to be committed to something long term. Because now you have you made that promise, like we did, for example, once a week, we want to do the podcast. So it doesn't matter, consistency and having a track record of something where you can see that you watch episode 1 versus episode 92, 93. You see your progress and your skills. like in terms of
I hope at
speaking.
least. I hope at least, right?
Exactly. Not rambling. Exactly. Not rambling. Whatever it is. Also, like, what goes into the podcast? You understand more now because you do more and more research about it. What takes to have a good podcast? Because you want to improve. At least this is our mindset. If you have a mindset that is constantly, you want a growth mindset, constantly want to improve. You think about, okay, how could I make this better? What other topics are there? You learn by learning more topics. You also like you open up your mind more to other ideas, other things to talk about, other people, like having guests on the podcast. I think these are
Which
super,
we
super
sadly
interesting and
haven't done
cool.
yet, but this
Well,
is
we had, not this
2024.
year. We had, but
Yeah, exactly. But we barely had any. But yeah, that's what we're going to change this year. We have some plans already. But it also like brings me to the point like these stack up, right? So for example, at the beginning, I think the most consistent thing that I ever did besides sports, like volleyball, etc., was like in the last 15 years has been the gym, right? And then like these skills are transferable, right? Because you make a commitment to yourself to do it. Then the podcast. And then, for example, if you might not be as confident in certain aspects, for example, because you don't have a track record yet, you can apply the certain things that keep you consistent in, for example, creating a podcast each week, going to the gym 5 times, 6 times a week to the thing that you want to learn. And that way, you will be better than 99% of each person. Like, because most people, like, they go to the gym. How many people have I seen like this week and who have been telling me, oh man, I haven't been in the gym in the last 3 weeks or a month, right? Because like Christmas season, etc. If you think about it, this is like a month that they're missing. It doesn't matter whether it's going to the gym or in any other skill, as long as you're consistent, you will outperform most of the other people.
well, another, I think, a random thing that's super cool about podcasting is you get to have cool mics.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, we're still waiting for the good old Shure microphones.
I mean, don't
But
get me
yeah,
wrong, the
next
gadgets are
step up.
really nice. It's just one of the things that is not that good that you can't be in the same room. And I wanted to have a podcast this year.
Yeah.
This is also on our goal list to have in the same rooms because I think the interaction is a little bit better. You can be faster and like, I don't know, it's like cool. I like this. The dynamic is a little bit different. And I think it's going to be funnier in that regard as well. So, yeah.
But then I think then you can't do it with guests because then you would need a screen, and then it's if then it must be in the same room. Otherwise, like if you do it digitally, it needs to be over. I can't picture it like sitting next to each other and then having another person like watching you on the screen. I think that might be a little bit weird.
Yeah, I think that might be complicated as well, that one. But I think the other way would work though. Like if it's just the two of us, if you could riff on a topic, for example, let's say medical care in Germany or something, and then you could like let's make it a twist out of it. Like what are the worst business ideas there possible, but somehow work? I don't know. You can riff ideas, and it's like the interactions are gonna be much faster and interactive, I think. Also, because another
No,
thing is
I mean,
that you can learn if you have podcasts and you want guests on there, outreach, right? It's a skill to have important in life in general, that you outreach to
man,
people and connecting with them, building your network,
it's
all this
easier
kind of
way to
stuff.
connect with them because you can say, "Hey, I would like to have you." First of all, what most people underestimate is like just the ability to ask somebody if you like want to have a mentor or something. If you just like a lot of people want to help or give back, right? Because they have already succeeded. Now they want to give it back to other people. So like, oh man, if I could help a very young entrepreneur, they might be willing to help. Just like reach out to them. Same with our podcast. Just reach out to them. Well, we haven't done it yet with the podcast, but we're going to do it this year. But we're seeing it in our like business life as well. Just reaching out, maybe investors, etc., or other entrepreneurs who can then introduce you to investors. Or if you're looking to create a board and you're looking for certain experts, just shoot them a message on LinkedIn. And of course, be like
Authentic.
be yourself, right? Authentic, exactly. That was the word I was looking for. Thank you, Mark. So
You're
yeah,
welcome.
authenticity is really, really important because in the end, people can tell if you're not yourself and just playing a role. And in the end, you want to feel yourself. Of course, you should also
Well, you should have.
not go in an interview.
Yeah, no, 100%,
Go ahead.
100%. But the thing, I think authenticity, something that is really hard to describe, and I think it's over one of these buzzwords that's overused. But at the end of the day, I think naturally humans can tell if someone is not authentic in that sense that they're lying to themselves and you. And this is one of the skills I think that humanity has evolved to learn over time, since it is mandatory for your survival, right? You know if their intentions are true or not. It's like the gut feeling you have sometimes with someone. You're like, it doesn't feel right. And this is the thing, like, it's like don't be that. I don't want to be the guy who's like, be authentic. But honestly, it is like, be yourself in that regard. Don't be like an asshole if you're an asshole. But my point is just like, hey, don't pretend someone that you're not in that regard when you do this kind of stuff, because people tend to connect with who you are and not with the personality that you involve or you pretend to be, right? In that regard.
I agree. All right, Mark.
Getting so
I think that was my riff.
Very philosophical here, but
for sure. All right, everybody. I think that was just like a quick recap because I thought it was really, really fascinating. Maybe this is just a memo to myself or to my future self. But I think it's like really, really important for me and like to seeing now how certain skills, even though you were starting it for a different reason, lead or give you skills later in life that are super, super helpful. And for us, it's, for example, podcasts. And I hope you have certain things like this as well, even though you might not see the purpose right now. In the future, we'll be like looking back, like Steve Jobs always says, like looking backwards, like all the dots connected, right? So basically why he went to the calligraphy class, etc., and which led then to the font of Apple. And the same will happen in one point in time in your life as well. So many skills that that stack up and then give you exponential return, hopefully. And I think, I will leave you guys. So, of course, leave us a comments below. If you want to have any topics you want to have that we should talk about. If not, of course, catch you next one and have a great day.
Peace.